Hey guys, episode number 22. We're coming at you live. Change versus compromise. Really, really important subject that's brought up to me. This one is actually something I'm just bringing up on my own. Going over some of the different ideas and options I happen to notice. And for this episode number 22 today, I wanted to explain the difference between change versus compromise. Now, it's very, very important to understand the difference between the two. And some would think it's the same thing, but I'm going to put it in the easiest way you could possibly understand it. If in a relationship, man versus woman, a man is trying to change his wife's maybe habits or something that he doesn't agree with, or vice versa, the wife doesn't agree with something the husband does. Do they try? The one person's trying to change the other person. They're trying to change them. Usually, it's women trying to change us, and sometimes our very poor habits. But it does happen as far as a matter of change. So one of the things I want you to understand is you can't really change somebody. You can compromise with somebody. If a person is strong-willed, driven, and motivated, it's very, very difficult, if it ever possible, in my opinion, to ever change a human being. So I think, without a doubt, learning the power of compromise and learning where change is needed and where compromise is needed, understanding the difference between the two. So I'm going to put up on this little podcast an example of what these are, and I'm going to go through them line by line, as I usually do with my little charts and things of that nature. So the best thing I could possibly do is understand the difference between compromise and change. Compromise is being open-minded to learn and grow, understand the opportunities that are out there, understand that you got to be open-minded enough to do it. Change is what someone else expects you to do, and there's a very big difference between the two. Change, without a doubt, is something that, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody's actually asking you to change, but you don't want to change. Change is uncomfortable to you. Change is difficult. So trying to get the other person to change is darn near impossible. There's just no way around that. Change is difficult because of a formed habit. There's an old saying, old dog, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can. It depends on the dog. If the dog is willing to be open-minded, particularly I consider myself pretty open-minded, so I learn something every single day, whether it's from clients, people, customers we work with in our restoration side. Whatever the case is, I learn something different from them every single day. So in that instance, being forced out of your comfort zone is huge. And understand that it's the only way you're going to grow from a maturity standpoint in your business and your life is to accept change as a variable. Being a big Steelers fan, I was kind of heartbroken that James Harrison left. Didn't really care they went to the Patriots. That is my fiance's team, and I respect them. It's painful to watch a guy that's been so big and such a big dominant part of your life, and watching your team move to somewhere else. However, the Steelers decided to release him before he ever jumped ship. So it wasn't like he jumped ship and was traded to the Patriots. He did make that change all on his own, and they made the option of the change to release him to be a free agent. So, you've got to understand the difference between the two. It's hard for me as a diehard Steelers fan to see an icon like James Harrison go to somebody else. But I have to accept change because it's the reality of the world. It's reality that they have changed and used different maneuvers and different positions and different ideas in their program, in their strategy in order to beat their competition. And they felt James Harrison was not necessarily being a proactive member of that anymore, even though he's contributed so much. And he always will be considered a legend. He's always going to be considered Steelers, no matter what. He's only got a year or two more to play. So we're still going to consider him a Steeler even when he retires. People get a little over-dramatized because they fear change. Change happens. Accept it, understand it, realize it, and embrace it. There's no doubt about it. Compromise is willing to give your full effort to see if there's a better way. Those are profound words. Compromise is being open-minded, as I just said, to see if there is a better way to do it. That's like me going in and saying, I'm going to spend 8 hours developing this sheet, this hot sheet, for the show, when if I would have strategized for 10 minutes, it would have taken me 5 minutes to write it up instead of 2 hours to sit there in front of a computer and go, damn it, I will figure it out. I will understand what this is. I will know what to do here. Bullshit, you won't. If you spend the time working on a strategy, if you understand what the cause is, you will cut down your time tremendously. Working in the disaster restoration industry, you don't have a lot of free time. You never know what's going to happen, what's going to change at the drop of a dime. So you have to plan your day to say, I've got this much time, 2 hours to get 8 hours worth of stuff done. I've got to find a way to do it because the other 6 hours or 10 hours in this business can change things dramatically. So you have to be open to change. You have to be acceptable to the fact that things will change. You have to be open to compromise that will most likely happen. And if you plan your day saying you can't plan that you have 8 hours, the first 2 hours I do this, the next 2 hours I do this, then I have my lunch, I do it. It doesn't work in the business, and especially in the service businesses, because you're usually in a rush to get things done because it's a matter of urgency. So understanding that is the most important part, and being open to compromise is important, and be open to change. Compromise is a way to put your best foot forward to explore being open-minded. Same thing I just said. Understand that the more open-minded you are, the more open-minded you are to grow, the more open-minded you are to learn, to invest yourself into an education, products, and people that actually know what they're doing. There's the important part. Only learn from people that have actually done it and learned it and mastered it. Because even though you can get somebody that can give you quick advice, cheap advice, whatever the case is, they haven't actually done it. And when the next serious issue or object comes up, or something that's going to transform and change you or just tweak things a little bit, that person's not going to be able to give you that answer because they haven't experienced it, they haven't learned it, they haven't loved it, they haven't understood it. It's very, very important to understand that. Change may expose the way you have limited your opportunities. I think all of us are responsible for this. All of us are culpable of this. You have limited yourself. You've limited your own opportunities. You've done things to yourself by learning things the hard way. True. When you dig in, and as us guys, we're probably the worst at it. We dig in. We don't like to look at directions when we buy a particular product or something we buy online, put a toy together, put whatever it is. We don't look at directions. We're looking at going, I can figure this out. This is this and this. It's simple. Bullshit again. It isn't simple. So we limit our own opportunities. We are our own worst enemy, as I said the other day, just like the song goes. You're your own worst enemy. I mean, just have to understand it and face it, that if you're willing to be open-minded, listen, and learn from others, you'll be much better off. I learned this from Brian Tracy years ago. He had talked about the fact that if you tried to learn information, this was in Master Strategies course, that if you tried to learn everything you need to do to be successful today, in today's world, with all of the options, all of the information, all the technology out there, you would do poorly. You would do terrible, because you can't possibly keep up with it. So you have to learn from others, again, people that actually know what they're talking about, and can give you real-world information in order to grow your business. So you have to learn from real things, real people, real options, things that are going to grow yourself forward, that are going to move you forward. Very, very important. So you're your own worst enemy. You limit your own beliefs. The good news is you can change it. Just like I can go over here and change this screen, this fireplace screen on my TV. I can do anything I want. I can change this and say I want it to be a Christmas. I want it to be a small fire. I have the option to change. I have the option to reveal and open those opportunities up that I actually have every single day. So that's a big one. Compromise will give you a fresh start to grab these opportunities, and it's true. Once you're open-minded to your growth, you're open-minded to your ability, you're open-minded to the options that are out there, that is this huge, massive world that most of us really can't comprehend because it's so big. I never realized it when I started this group. I never realized I'd have 1,400 members growing a month, and 90% of it is complete word of mouth. There is no me adding somebody, driving somebody. It's none of that. It's people saying, I know people that'll benefit. I have employees that'll benefit from this. I have associates and friends that'll benefit from this. That's how it's grown that fast. And it continues to grow. I get multiple requests every single day because I try to deliver value and people perceive what I'm doing here as value. Well, that's being open to grab opportunities. I understand that me doing this every single day helps you. Therefore, it helps me. It helps me to learn, grow, and help others. And maybe even help the person that originally gave me the advice but wasn't so great at taking the advice. I'd be one of those. So learn and understand the difference between change and compromise. Change is very difficult to change, but if you're open to compromise and give something an opportunity to grow and become better at what you do, become a better person, become better at your family life, become better at yourself and everything around you. Make a commitment to make everything you are that's around you better, to make a commitment to learn an education, to make a commitment to be above the fold. And you will grow and you will succeed. I guarantee it. There's no way you can lose if you commit yourself to the opportunities that are in front of you and understand the difference between compromise and change. That's today's episode number 22 of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching. I really appreciate you being here today. Feel free to watch this. Feel free to comment. We've got new episodes coming out 5 days a week. So I really appreciate you being here. I see a lot of people have joined us this time, and I appreciate all the feedback. And thanks again. Your time is valuable. Everybody's time is valuable. So make the most of your opportunities and understand the difference between change and compromise. Men, us, you get this. It's very simple. Understand the pluses and benefits to both. Understand how you need to look at something in order to make that happen. So, change versus compromise. I'll add this to the notes here today. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you tomorrow for our last episode of the week. And then we're going to get into some real serious goal planning. I just got invited to do a 1-hour webinar with a buddy of mine and his group of thousands of restoration professionals sometime the end of this week, beginning of next week, to work on really focusing on goals to bring your business to the higher level and to 10x it very, very quickly, to build a business that may be $100,000 to $1 million very quickly. It can be done. I've done it. It does happen. Do it up. Thanks. Bye.